Announcements. Hello and welcome in to our first ever live review. Oh yeah.
That's live all in caps. Live review.
So we're gonna check out Duke Nukem 3D 20th Anniversary World Tour. This isn't a new game, of course. It is 20th anniversary, which implies 20 years. But there's that new version of Rise of the Tomb Raider for its 20th anniversary, and that game only came out last year. So that's just madness.
That was like Celebration Edition or something.
Yeah,
That was the weird title
weird.
for it. But
But
this
this
is
is
apparently we gave it Game of the Year, so I don't know. They should just put out Game of the Year. Put our name on the back of the box. It's fine.
it's happened before. No, it hasn't. So yeah, this came out about 2 weeks ago, and Gearbox and Nerve Software put this out. Gearbox published it, and I think just oversaw it generally, and Nerve did the actual port job, as far as I know. We'll get into the actual game. Has excuse me, has single player, as you can
Ooh.
expect. Yeah, I know. It has the three episodes from regular Duke Nukem 3D. It also has the fourth episode, which was added in when the Atomic Edition came out, which is basically the Ultimate Edition of the game. Kind of like the Ultimate Doom was kind of basically like that.
Yeah.
And then Alien World Order is the new episode that was added in exclusively for this release, which was actually developed by Alan Blum and Richard Leveler Gray, who were two of the level designers from the original game. So that's pretty cool. I'll show off probably the first level of the first episode because that's the one that everyone knows, and then I'll show off a little bit of the new campaign. And there is multiplayer. There is. Let's just see if there's anyone playing it. I doubt it. Yeah, doesn't look like it. There is co-op, which you can play probably up to 8 players, I think, something like that. There's a lot of people anyway, too much, and then you can play deathmatch and all the maps and all that. The multiplayer, I did play it when it first came out. It was pretty smooth, but no one's really playing it. This has shift support. You know that horrible Gearbox thing, shift.
Oh yeah,
You
shit.
can link
Wow.
it up your shift account, but I can't remember if I have one or not.
Was
So
that for like Borderlands 2 or
Borderlands
something, where you
2,
get like
yeah.
a special loot box or
You
something?
got keys for a
Oh,
special loot
jeez.
box.
That was the box in town. Wow, that's a weird thing. That was a long time ago.
Yeah. So
I guess we should break down this thing a little bit though. This basically we're just doing kind of as it says, kind of a live review. We're kind of going over it. Ross has played through it all and everything like that. He's ready to render final judgment. We're just kind of showing off sections. He's showing off sections of the game, and then at the end, a score will be revealed for the game. Ooh.
oh yeah. So yeah, we're gonna play the first level, Hollywood Holocaust, which is the one that everyone knows. So, and I'm gonna play on Come Get Some because that's what you play on.
There you go. So if you're expecting this to be more of a well-produced, well-structured thing, that's for the written stuff. So this will be kind of a seat of our pants kind of evaluation.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, this is the first level. You start off with this rooftop, and one thing I want to show off immediately is that you see this floating microphone icon ahead of me. They added in developer commentary that you can switch on and off. I'm going to shut up while this first one plays.
And I will turn on the volume
You
and
probably
see
won't
how
really hear it that
this.
well, because
Is there subtitles or no?
no, there's not. So that's one of the things that I don't really like about it.
Yeah.
Imagine having to listen to this stuff while you're actually playing the game, and other stuff's happening, and yeah, he's just basically saying, "Oh, it's great that we've got in the episode." Randy Pitchford talking there. They do a terrible job of actually pointing out who's talking. Like I know that's Randy Pitchford because I know what he sounds like,
Yeah.
but if you did not know what Randy Pitchford sounded like, then you wouldn't know. And when the other guys are talking, I don't know who they are, so it's kind of
And they don't even introduce themselves, right? It's just
no,
like a bunch of people talking.
no, exactly. So yeah, this is the game. I'll show off something else new to this version. So at press of a button, the down on the D-pad on the console version, you can basically trigger between new graphics and old graphics. This is old graphics, and this is new graphics. There isn't really a big difference. You notice that the lights
Yeah.
on the sign of the cinema are more they're more pronounced, and I think the textures are a little bit sharper. No, not really, but like there's a
That's
little
a
bit more detail. But it's more. The main difference is that it's proper. They try to make it
yeah.
look like a proper 3D game. So if you look up into the new version of the graphics, it actually looks like a proper building when you look up at it. In the old graphics, it kind of looks all weird. It doesn't look right. They're kind of.
Yeah, it looks like a nightmare kind of.
It
It's kind of
does.
ridiculous.
So I think that's actually a pretty neat
Yeah,
addition. It doesn't really. It's not. You're not gonna look at that and go, "Wow, I can't believe they did that."
I
But
mean,
it's kind
it's
of a
cool.
nice touch. Um,
They kind of get sick looking at the old way. It's kind of weird.
yeah. Well, I mean, you very rarely look up like that
Yeah,
in
that's
this
fair.
game anyway, so it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's talk about the actual game for a bit. So
Okay.
this came out in 1996 originally, and it was kind of, I would say, the only game that came out within the Doom era if it was actually anywhere near as good as Doom. You know what I mean? It's like this game actually carved out its own little, I wouldn't say niche, but like its own kind of brand of shooter. Because you had games that came out after this that were more like Duke. You know what I mean? So you had, your Shadow Warriors, which of course was made by 3D Realms, and you had your Blood and Redneck Rampage, and there's more,
Oh,
but
blood.
I can't remember them off the top of my head. Yep, Blood, which was done by Monolith, of course.
Your boys and
Um,
mine. Monolith.
yeah. So yeah. So what this game brought to the table with Doom didn't do, there's stuff like this was made on the build engine. So
Hmm. Never heard much about that.
yeah. So this engine was more advanced than what Doom was on. Um, in the Doom engine, you couldn't build rooms on top of other rooms.
Hmm.
It was a technological you know drawback.
Impossibility.
Yeah. But in the build engine you could do that, so you could actually make environments like this that actually looked kind of believable at the time. Like it's not obviously when you look at it compared to
Sure.
today's games, it looks kind of terrible. But for the time, you looked at this and thought, wow, that actually looks like it could be, you know, somewhat real. You know what I mean? It was the closest thing to like a realistic environment. And this game has a lot more interactivity compared to Doom, so I just turned that light switch on, which lights up the room. Lots of little things like that. You can use the toilet to get your health back. You can drink like when I broke that fire hydrant earlier and I drunk out of it, like that actually gave me health back. Um, lots of little things like that. Nothing like it's kind of it's really small in hindsight, but at the time those were like really cool, like little things that really helped this game stand apart from everything else at the time, and even compared to like Quake, which came out later on that year. Like the only thing that game did new was its graphics, but the actual gameplay was just more of the same old stuff. This actually did have a little gameplay stuff here and there, and this game's weapons are more interesting.
Yeah.
You start off with more basic, like your shotgun and your pistol and your machine gun, rocket launcher, that sort of thing. But later on, you get more interesting ones like the freeze thrower, which freezes them into place, and you can kick them to shatter them. And you've got the shrink gun, which shrinks them, and you step on them and stuff like that. Like stuff that was pretty cool for 1996 standards.
Yeah. For sure. It seems like, especially this first Duke Nukem game, like they actually did things in terms of like gameplay. I won't say innovations necessarily, but like they at least had fun little quirks and tweaks and had a lot of little attention to detail. Like looking at the security camera, it doesn't really help you at all, but it adds depth to the environment. Same with like mirrors and stuff like that, which this game was kind of infamous for as well. Just, it had a lot of little touches. It made
Yeah,
the world feel more alive than say Doom.
the fact that the doors actually swing open in this game, it's not like a wall that basically moves up and down, which is the way Doom did it. The doors actually
Yeah.
swing open. It's little things like that. Um, you would call that a rotating sector. Doom didn't have rotating sectors, so I'm talking video game developer
Yeah.
talk, but
It feels like they kind of lost that. Like it was like Duke Nukem Forever. It's just like, especially for how long the game it took. Any any weird little stuff like that, which would feel maybe back when the game was originally supposed to come out, may have felt may have done the same thing that this game did back then. But by the time Duke Nukem Forever came out, all that stuff felt like old hat a little bit.
yeah. And this game has like jumping and crouching and stuff like that, which Doom obviously never had.
Yeah.
And you get a
Like
jetpack.
dolphin dives.
No dolphin dives. You do. There is like a full inventory as well of like items that you can use as well. So you've got like the steroids to make you run faster. There's the jetpack which makes you fly, which kind of breaks some levels. You can skip sections and stuff like that if you've got a jetpack. Um, what other items are there? Night vision goggles. There's the scuba kit, which allows you to breathe longer underwater. You know, the fact this game has swimming. You know, Doom doesn't have anything like that.
Yeah.
You know, this game
Yeah,
has vaguely destructible environments. Very scripted, but
yeah.
yeah.
Some bad Battlefield 3 shit.
Oh yes.
I will say for this game especially, it was a lot of the attitude thing, which like games like Sonic the Hedgehog and stuff really took advantage of to kind of differentiate them from other titles.
It's very
Like Doom
90s.
yeah, Doom has a personality, but it's very metal. This is much more like sleazy, kind of real.
Yeah, it kind of is, but I think it's overstated, especially like in today's world. It's like everyone
Oh
thinks
yeah,
of this level and they think of the next level, but like the rest of this game is kind of just a straight shooter. And Duke doesn't talk as much as people make him out to. You know, he
yeah.
really doesn't talk that much in this
I
game.
mean, back in the day, it felt like a lot, right?
Yeah,
Because that like no one did that. But now it's just like, especially compared to like games like Uncharted, like literally Drake just talks the entire time, basically.
exactly. So
And this is much more measured. But it felt like more back in the day. I do like kind of the more rapid fire nature of the gameplay here compared to something like I think Doom is much more measured. That's a weird thing about something like Doom where it's more measured. In terms of this, I feel like everything fires a lot faster, everything moves a lot faster typically.
I think this game's really well balanced as its weapons go. Like I think all the weapons in this game are actually good.
Hmm.
Even the pistol I actually use all the way through the game because the thing that I hate about Doom, the pistol and the chain gun use the same ammo, so I never use the pistol. I always use the chain
Oh
gun.
yeah.
But this game doesn't have that problem, so I actually use the pistol all the time, and it shoots fast and it actually does a decent amount of damage too. So it's good, and all the other weapons are good too, like the pipe bombs. The fact that when you throw a pipe bomb, it sort of drops on the ground, sort of realistically for the time, and you can actually pick it up if you don't use it and stuff like that. It's like just little things. It's like wow, they really did do a lot with this game. A lot of neat ideas.
Yeah.
Which Duke Nukem Forever didn't really have neat ideas. So.
I like if it did think they were overshadowed by being so far ago, like when it was developed, right?
Yeah, because it felt like a Half-Life 2 knockoff. That's what that game kind of
Yeah.
felt like.
And Half-Life 2 was a very long time ago.
Yeah, well, so. Here I am using the jetpack to get this guff up here.
Guffer. Whew.
Yeah, I do know all the secrets for this level, but I don't know all the secrets for like all the levels or anything like that. Just this one.
Oh, that's pretty high up there.
Oh, it is very, very high. The levels have a sense of scale to them, which the levels in Doom don't really have for the most part. Some of them do.
Yeah.
But there's no leaderboards in this version, which I think is a bit of a bummer.
What was that in previous versions?
It was in the XBLA version, which was pretty good. I want to deliberately die to show off a feature. It's nothing incredibly amazing, but I'm trying to think of a good way to die. I'll probably just load up a later level or something. I'll die then. Yeah, there's a lot of enemies in this game too, like a lot of good enemy types. Nothing like amazing as far as like their gameplay goes, but they all look cool and they're all pretty distinctive.
This flying guy's pretty fun. That you step back motorcycle people.
Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much like this level. The first two levels are the ones that everyone knows, and I think as you can see, it's a pretty faithful rendition as far as like the graphics and all that goes. Even with the new graphics, obviously, it looks pretty much the same. It's just touched up a little bit, and I think it's nice. I don't think anyone's gonna be like, oh, I'm gonna stick it to the original. And I think the new graphics are definitely the way to go.
Do you like kind of the direction he took this in terms of just like kind of modernizing the old game, or would you prefer something where it was a complete remake or a remaster, like
That would be more interesting because this game's gotten so many ports already.
Yeah.
There was the original, version that came out on PC, and then you had like the PlayStation port and the Saturn port, and there was the Nintendo 64 version, which was actually similar, but not the same game. They actually added stuff like different ammo types and things like that, which aren't typically in this game. So it's kind of interesting. Different character sprites and weapon sprites in that version as well. So that's kind of its own thing. But Yeah, as far as we never really got a remake of this game. And then more recently, we've got the XBLA version, which came out in
Yeah.
2008. You had the Megaton edition, which came out in PC in 2013, and there was a PS3 slash Vita version of that as well. A lot of, not a lot, but there's been some controversy surrounding this release because Gearbox put this out, and basically the Megaton edition was on PC and it got pulled down, before this version could come out. So it's kind of like,
Kind of rude.
kind of rude, and also people are kind of upset because the Megaton edition actually has stuff that this version doesn't have. So
Okay.
the Megaton version had the expansions, had like the Duke It Out in DC expansion, the Nuclear Winter expansion, what's the other one? The Caribbean Life's a Beach campaign, and
Oh,
stuff
weird.
like that. So
It's actually a
um,
decent amount of stuff.
it is, yeah, and those, especially the Caribbean one, is really, really good. So, yeah, that's kind of a shame that they took that away, especially because those actual expansions, the actual discs, are pretty hard to get. So, I'm kind of lucky because I have Megaton Edition on
Yeah.
PC, but I think it's sort of a shame that those campaigns aren't in this version.
Is that kind of hurt in terms of speaking of a review of this game? Does this hurt this game because it is missing content and it's kind of being portrayed as an ultimate edition of Duke Nukem?
I don't think they're not really pretending it's an Ultimate Edition. They're just pretending it as 20th anniversary, which is like, okay, you get the original game, and that's fine. But
Yeah.
you also get the fourth episode, and you get the new episode as well. And I guess that's like canon. Is like this is the fifth episode, so
Yeah.
I mean that's good. There's like plenty of levels in here, plenty of content, but just the fact that it feels like they could have definitely put those other levels in there. It's definitely a bit of a shame that they're not in here. Um,
So it does maybe reduce your evaluation,
well,
not reduce your evaluation, but does kind of like it's a knock against it. Hey, they
especially
should have just have everything, especially for how like much they improved the graphics of this anyway.
especially because like that version, the Megaton edition, was out pretty recently. Like
Yeah.
pretty frustrating.
Yeah.
But this controls pretty well. Megaton edition on PS3 sucked. I hated it. It was kind of slapped onto there with no real thought or effort. This plays pretty well with a controller. It's pretty smooth, and swap between weapons is okay. They kind of have this Half-Life 1, Half-Life 2 kind of thing where you kind of cycle through them and then you hit like the fire button to select it, which is okay. That's better than cycling through them one by one and waiting for each weapon to load. It's better than that.
Yeah.
But I wish they had like a radial, like Saints Row style, like weapon
Yeah.
wheel or something. That would have been better.
What was the first game to have something like that? It was like kind of Mass Effect 1-ish.
Well, Saints Row came out before that.
I guess Saints Row, I suppose. Because that's the first game I remember having. I'm like,
So
wow, this
Ratchet and
is like
Clank had stuff like that.
yeah, Ratchet and Clank, I suppose. Yeah.
Yeah. So I kind of wish they took an approach like that. I think that would have been good. Like if they, had it where you bring up the weapon wheel, game pauses, and you select your weapon. I think that would have been a really elegant system like that. Because any game where you have like 10 guns and you like
Yeah.
cycle through them, that's not good. So yeah, that's something to bring up. But I think it's control as well. I think it's really a faithful version of the game. And yeah, I suppose I won't really play too much more of this original game
Do you
here.
want to see some of the new stuff?
Yep.
The new level.
So we'll quit out here. Do you want me to show you the last level?
Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
this is your tour. This is your world tour. Show me what you want.
All right.
That you
So-
think best represents your final
Yeah.
evaluation of the game.
Yeah. So this is the last level of the new episode. So if you don't want to see it, then don't watch it. But the reason why I'm going to show you is because it has a terrible final boss, and this is actually a new weapon that they've added for this version. It's this flamethrower. They call it the incinerator, and it's not that good. It kind of launches like like flame. It's kind of like a mix between a flamethrower and a grenade launcher. It kind of just shoots out at like an
A
arc.
fireball.
Yeah, and it shoots out like an arc. It's basically like a fireball, and it's okay on these weaker enemies, but against like more dangerous enemies, it's pretty crappy. And you
Yeah.
have to wait around for them to burn. It's really not that good a weapon, and I accidentally set myself on fire, which is really good. And yeah, so it's just not that good a weapon. I don't like it. So that's my
I see what they're
thoughts on
going
that.
for, but
Yeah, It feels kind of
It's like,
hacked on, you know. It's not that good.
yeah, the PC version of Halo had that too, which accidentally Gearbox did. Um, where it was just like, here's a flamethrower that wasn't in the Halo 1. You're like, this feels kind of hacked together and kind of weird. Felt like
Yeah.
a mod almost.
Yeah.
Same with the fuel rod cannon they added.
That's right. Weren't they multiplayer only? I think they were.
Yes, I think so.
So yeah, this isn't actually the best like representation of the episode because I actually think it's a really good episode. The world tour bit of the title is for this campaign. You go around the world, major cities like London, Moscow, Amsterdam. Basically, just aliens are taking over the world, so it's pretty interesting. Like each level has its own distinct theme, and they actually generated quite a lot of unique art specifically for this episode, which is pretty cool. There's actually a new enemy as well. We might not see it. It's not that good though. It's like a flame trooper, and they explode on when they die, which is kind of interesting, but not
Lots of
really.
fire stuff.
And yeah, lots of fire stuff. And they can shrink themselves whenever, so they're hard to hit. But not that they don't. It's not a great enemy. So.
Sure. Slaughtering all these lizard men.
I'm gonna let this guy kill me so I can show you something. Right, so when you die in this version of the game, you get this basically like this video style scrubber, we'll call it, and basically you can go back to wherever you want and pick up from wherever. So that's not an entirely new feature. That was in the XBLA version of Duke Nukem 3D, but they brought it back for this.
Interesting.
It's a good system. It means that you don't really have to worry about saving and loading, really.
Yeah.
The only time you should save is like when you're going to turn the game off. So, but if you're just playing through the levels, it means it's pretty forgiving. You know, if you make a mistake, accidentally die, you can easily just go back.
Yeah, it loads pretty quickly too, so hard to argue with it.
Yeah, it's pretty much instant. So yeah, that works well.
Yeah. Some kind of Forza Horizon.
Yeah, it's like a racing game almost. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's fast enough where it'd be like the speed of it kind of is reminiscent of a racing game.
It is.
In some ways.
Yeah.
I was always wondering if that like rewind system would like show up in other games. That like I know like you can rewind time in some games and stuff like that, but like having just like hit a button and you can rewind with your previous action or something. I was wondering when games would start doing this, and I don't think this is a sign of like mass mainstream adoption of that feature.
No.
I was wondering if something like other than Forza would start doing it.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really see it, but we'll see.
It would be a different way of handling that kind of system. I imagine like Dark Souls had a rewind button. It'd be weird.
Oh yeah. Imagine if someone hacked that together. It'd be weird.
Yeah.
I hate these green things that hatch out of the eggs. They're really annoying.
It didn't hatch out of an egg is pretty annoying.
There's one really annoying enemy in this game, and I really hate it. It's the flying, like, robot drone thing that just flies straight into you and explodes. They take quite a lot of hits for what they are, and they're just really annoying. That's a pretty annoying enemy.
Dislike.
Dislike for that, yeah.
So would you say most of the new stuff apart, like the level, you said the level design's pretty good generally.
Yeah.
But for this new stuff, seems like most like new enemies or content they added, and it's not great.
No, it's
actually
kind of, it's tacked on. It's like, oh, it's new, but it's new for the sake of being new.
Yeah. Do you feel like that kind of reduces this episode in your eyes a little bit because of that?
A little bit, yeah. A little bit.
Yeah.
There's plenty of new voice. They got Johnson John to come back.
So I feel a little weird considering that, like you said before, like Duke Nukem doesn't talk as much as people think. Does it feel like it's a little overdone here then?
No, not really. It's pretty much just
Okay.
the same. It talks a little bit, but not too much.
Yeah, I wonder if they'll do another Duke Nukem.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, like, some of the level design here is really interesting in terms of like how like that aerial part, you're like, it's so slow set up to this area, and there's like a bunch of cars and stuff everywhere too, where you can like take cover and jump on top of. It's far more sophisticated than something like Doom.
Yep, it sure is.
I mean, to be fair, this is the thing, a modern level that was made in this engine, but still, like it had some of that in like that those first 2 episodes
Oh
for
yeah,
sure.
yeah, definitely.
So it's not like you know the critique's still valid. Do you think id took some stuff from here, probably to their own
Not
stuff from the level
really.
design?
I don't think so.
Okay. Yeah, they don't really like games don't really have gimmicks, which is why Rage kind of felt weird,
Yeah.
right? Because it felt like a game that had all of these other tacked on systems that don't bleed together very well. But like I've been playing the new Doom here, just like that game has stuff, but I was like, it's all it's all meant for something. It all has a purpose. None of it's like tacked on, like side little gimmick stuff.
Yeah, exactly. This new episode's pretty hard. Those big guys that I was fighting there, they're like mini bosses basically. Those were actually pretty much bosses in the original Duke Nukem 3D. Now they're
Oh,
just
really?
regular enemies. So yeah, it's pretty. This
Taking a lot of
episode
bullets.
doesn't mess around. Yep.
Yeah, I knew you were trying to concentrate. That's why I was
Oh yeah,
socking it up there.
it's all good.
Ammo for Devastator.
Yeah, Devastator's that dual rocket launcher thing, best weapon in the game.
Boom. Best weapon of the game, presented by Ross Hurd.
Sure is. Yeah. Uh, just a quick go through of the weapons. You've got the kick, which is useless. Pistol, which is pretty good. Shotgun, which is probably the main weapon I use. Chain gun's
Better than
pretty good as
Titanfall?
well. Yep,
Better
better
than
from
Titanfall
Titanfall.
shotgun?
Yep.
Ooh, damn.
Rocket launcher, which is great. Pipe bombs, which are good in certain situations. I don't use them that much, but the shrink ray is actually good against certain enemies because it's basically a one-shot kill on some of the tougher types, if that makes sense. So you know, you just shoot them once, and when they go small, then you step on the expander, which is pretty crap actually. The Devastator, which I've shown off. The trip wire bombs, that seems more like a multiplayer thing,
Yeah.
because I never use it in single player. It's cool though for this game has that, but yeah.
Yeah.
Freeze thrower is kind of like the new flamethrower. It's I think it's a cool weapon, but I don't think it's that useful against a lot of enemies, apart from like the newer ones. Or no, not the newer ones, the weaker ones. You know, like that pig cop. He died pretty
Hmm.
easily, but um, yeah, so that's the weapons, just in case for people that don't know. All right, so here's the final boss. Are you ready? Are you ready?
All right, you've been hyping this up. You've been hyping this up. How incredible it is.
There you go. There's your boss battle.
All right. Sounds good. I feel like that guy went down quicker than the other mini bosses we fought before.
It's pretty crap, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
not only so that boss is a reskin of the last boss in the original game.
Yeah.
It's just he's just red instead of like the brown color, and also so here's the original boss. I actually have a save for it, so I'll show that off real quick.
Okay.
Um, yeah, so there's the original boss, but yeah, the new one is red, and instead of the rockets, they gave him a flamethrower for some reason, and it's
Hmm.
really short range, and they can't really hit you. And
Yeah.
oh, it's crap. It's crap. It's a really crap boss fight.
It's crab.
Boss fights in these games aren't really that good anyway. Like I just
Yeah.
destroyed the original boss, so geez. But yeah, like
At least he's
that.
doing damage to you.
Yeah, at least that one does kill you pretty much in one hit. Like if you're not ready, you know. But
Yeah.
yeah, so yeah, that's Duke Nukem 3D. I wish I could skip
Okay.
this bit because it's a bit rude, but um, uh, yeah, I like it. I think it's a really good, faithful rendition of the game. I think some of the new stuff that they added, like the flamethrower, and like, that boss was terrible, and the little bit hacked on, like the new enemy type, a little bit hacked on, not that good. Maybe a little bit more effort could have been put in there, but they are working with like the limitations of the original technology. Um, but the new episode I think is pretty good overall. I think the director commentary stuff could have been a lot better. Really good concept, but I think the implementation's not that good. It's pretty hard to hear. There's no subtitles, and it's kind of they're kind of just chucked in willy nilly. The first level that we showed off, the Hollywood Holocaust level, that has loads of them, but most of episode one, the rest of it doesn't have any. You know what I mean? So it's
Weird.
very
Yeah.
like some of the levels have lots of them, some of them hardly have any at all, and I
Poor
think that's
pacing.
pretty
Stuff.
crap. Yeah. So that's not good. Multiplayer's dead, which is not the end of the world, but multiplayer works fine if you can. It's the sort of thing you probably need to get friends to play. Um, what else?
Lacking some content, missing some stuff in previous versions of this
Yeah, well,
game.
previous re-releases, yeah. So the
Yeah.
Megaton edition did have extra levels, quite a lot of extra levels that aren't in this version, which I think lets it down a little bit as well. But I still think it's a good version of the game, and the new episode's really good, and it's on PS4 and Xbox One for the first time, and
Visual
so
stuff
that's
seems
good.
really well done too.
Yeah, the visual stuff's good. I think if you've already got the Megaton edition on PC, it's a harder sell. I don't
Yeah.
think there's really a good reason to get it. But if you're looking to play this game on a console, I think this is probably the best version. I think it is the best version of the game so far. It's better than the XBLA version. It has more content, and it's got more features with the additional graphics, developer commentary. You've got the new episodes. So yeah, I'm gonna throw up the score. You ready?
Ooh, I'm excited.
Oh, fucked it up. Boom! There we go. So yeah, gonna give it a 4 out of 5. Good game. Very faithful version of the original. Good extra content. Multiplayer, it's dead, but it works well. Single player works as expected. Controls well, and runs very smoothly. That probably doesn't come across in the stream quite as well because it's 30 frames per second, but it runs very smoothly. So yeah, I think it's good. I think in the PC you might change that score to the 3. You know what I mean? Just
Yeah.
because I don't, it's harder to justify like them ripping away all the other versions, and now you've got this one. It's kind of weird, but
Mhm.
the price is also maybe a bit high for some people, and I can understand it's $20 if you're wondering.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think a 4 is justified. It's a good version of the game. I know people like to hate on Randy, and I understand that, but you can't, it's still a good game. So stop hating.
Can't hate on the game for that.
Yeah, so that's it. Is there anything else you want to ask or
No, the
tell me?
score is well justified. I think. Yeah, it sounds about right. Yeah. It's kind of disappointing it's lacking some content. It kind of makes it where it's like, it kind of leaves them a weird door open where it's like, the actual World Tour edition or something like that,
Yeah,
which
well,
is kind of gross. But
it's not that it's missing content. It's just it doesn't have the extra content that the
yeah,
other version had. So
yeah,
you shouldn't feel too like it doesn't feel like an empty package. You know what I mean? It does feel
oh
complete.
sure.
It's just it could have been more. You know what I mean? It
Some
could have been,
bells and whistles, which could have like maybe elevated it to like a 5 or something like
yeah.
that.
You
That
never
include
know.
literally everything.
Yeah, and maybe if the final boss in that new episode was a bit better. Who knows?
Or some of the new weapons or enemies and stuff like that.
Yeah. If they went all out with it and really went for it, yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, that's the end of this live review. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you enjoyed it, be sure to give us a smiley face. And that's
Big
not a
content.
thing. That's not a thing. Uh,
Leave us a big old smile, a big old wink of the eyes.
yes. No, just tell us that you liked it. That will do. And I'll see you guys next time. I bumped my microphone. What an idiot. I'll see you guys next time.
Peace out.